ESPN has Darryn Peterson mocked to go #2 to the Utah Jazz. Looks like they have his player comps as Damian Lillard on the high end. That's a pretty good-ass floor, to be honest with you. I'm not sure how I feel about both of those comparisons because I think Darryn Peterson has a lot more defensive upside compared to those two. And there's still question marks around him playing point guard versus shooting guard. Jamal Murray did start his career off as a shooting guard. And Damian Lillard has always been categorized as more of a scoring guard versus a traditional point guard. But I think Darryn Peterson matches a couple of other player comparisons. When I think about Darryn Peterson's game, the version that we saw in Kansas, not the version that we saw in high school, the players that come to mind are Devin Booker, Bradley Beal, and I see a lot of that old school Ray Allen in his game. There's question marks behind why wasn't he playing more of a point guard role at Kansas? Was he told to just focus more on scoring? And was that lack of burst that we saw in college a testament to the increase in competition, or was that an injury concern?
Peterson is a 6'6" guard who came in as the #2 player per RSCI, but was #1 on plenty of expert boards. He averaged 20.2 points on 44% shooting, lighting it up from beyond the arc while adding 4.2 rebounds, 1.4 steals, and more. Peterson's major strengths include his size and athleticism, shooting and shot making, defensive playmaking and upside, as well as driving and finishing.
Yeah, so check out his three-point percentage, 38%, which is nuts. And I think one of the knocks on him is his rim pressure. But he was 58% at the rim. I think that's slightly above average. It's not phenomenal, but it is a good sign that he knows how to complete contact and finish plays at the rim, even if he doesn't apply the same amount of rim pressure as somebody like Russell Westbrook. And I wholeheartedly think not only was it injury concerns that kind of hampered his little burst, I think no matter what level of high school you're playing, even if it was at prolific prep, it's college ball, man. You're playing against guys who are desperate to get into the league, and you're playing against 3-year players and 4-year players where this is their last shot. The competition is going to be higher on an athletic level, at least.
He shot of sink, and he just generally felt a little less zippy as a mover. Once actually at the rim, there were positive flashes of leaping and hang time, but I still think there was something to be desired here, too. There were times his elevation and lift simply wasn't the same.
Pretty much what I was saying, but that doesn't mitigate the fact that he was pretty efficient at getting to the rim and finishing at the rim.
And able to see shots through while unbalanced as well. Again, all things that are impressive for a player who wasn't thought of to be this good of a shot maker this quickly. Peterson shot 40% on all jumpers with Kansas, a blistering 45% on all catch and shoot shots, and a good 36% on dribble jumpers. About 65% of his three-point shot diet.
And see, this is exactly the type of role I see him playing in the NBA. Shout outs to Beal self. I feel like they had him in situations and in spots that he's probably going to see in the NBA. He still has potential to run the point, but now he's probably going to need to get into a situation where he can start off at the 2 guard and then learn the point guard as he continues down his career, similar to SGA, similar to how he played with Chris Paul. I think that's going to be the best scenario with him. But I think Keontae George learned how to actually be pretty decent with the ball in his hands, so that's going to be interesting if the Jazz take him.
So let's talk ball now. When people turn on Darryn Peterson tape, what should they expect?
Buckets. Simple.
I mean, he said it himself, man. When I think about a player who just gets buckets, but also still knows how to make players around him better, I think about Devin Booker. When I think about a player who knows how to get buckets, but is not so good at making players around him better, I think about Bradley Beal. And who's to say that a lot of the things that DP had went through in Kansas, the media didn't twist and turn? I still think that he was just trying to preserve his body, but we'll never know, man. We'll find out if he's Kawhi or not when he gets to the league, which is also another comparison.
Try to put fake, see if he would jump, he didn't jump.
So for most people, this is a bad shot.
No.
Why is it not for you?
Because I work on better shots. I would say.
Sound like Ace Bailey right there, don't he?
Coach tell me, if you can get it up, shoot it.
There you go. And then you follow that up, you weren't done. So this is less than 50 to go. Tie ball game.
Right.
What was going through your mind here?
We just hit one, so this next one gonna drop. So get it up.
What? That's cold-blooded. That's still a crazy shot. He said he seen him drop. That was like, you seen him drop for like half a second, dude. And this is the part where I'm like, okay, when you talk about Kobe, he probably does have Mamba mentality. Cold-blooded, sniper, killer instinct, because that shot was crazy too. And it's not like it's a game where it's a blowout. This is cold-blooded, bro. Definitely Devin Booker vibes. Giving Devin Booker energy.
Flory tried to screen. I'm like, if you screen, they probably gonna guard you too. So just watch out. This 1-on-1.
So you wanted the matchup here. You liked what you saw at this moment.
Yeah, he's trying. I like what I see on everybody.
No, sure. I mean, 'cause you went up the screen, so I just.
Yeah, I said.
That boy said he like what he see on everybody. It don't matter who it was. But he was foaming at the mouth when he saw AJ on him. But yeah, everything he's saying, this move right here, the instincts, even the form, it just screams Devin Booker. I ain't gonna cap to you, bro.
Laughing again.
Yeah, that was crazy.
I remember seeing
I think
this.
he should have been.
I get the Damian Lillard and the Jamal Murray concepts, but it just something about that just doesn't sit right with me. Looking at Devin Booker's stats and metrics, 6'5", that's around the same height as Darryn Peterson. And crazy enough, as an elite shooter and scorer that he is, he's shooting 33% from three this past season. I did not know he averaged 6 assists. 45.6% field goal percentage. I think Darryn Peterson's field goal percentage dipped dramatically once they got closer to March Madness. He had a couple of bad shooting games, but that's just where in the NBA you're gonna have to learn how to not only just rely on your jump shot. Sometimes when your jump shot isn't falling, what else are you gonna go to? What else are you gonna rely on? What other spots do you have in your bag? One of my favorite things about this year's class, not only with it being top heavy and these players have a chance to be generational, they're getting a lot of comparisons to the players from the early 2000s, which is very, very cool to me. AJ DeBansa has got some comparisons to T-Mac. We've heard Caleb Wilson get compared to Kevin Garnett, which I think is spot on as well. I've heard Jermaine O'Neal, hell, Cameron Boozer, you can almost say he plays like his dad, but with a three-point shot. But the comparisons to Kevin Love are pretty decent as well. And there's probably some Tim Duncan in this game too. I don't want to disrespect Tim Duncan and say that Cameron Boozer is going to be as good, but there are some molds of Tim Duncan in Cameron Boozer's game. And then Darryn Peterson was a little bit hard to find an early 2000s player. But the closest thing that I can come up with would have been something sort of a Rip Hamilton. But I think because of his athleticism, Ray Allen was a better comparison. And a lot of people forget just how athletic, shifty, and fluid that Ray Allen was when he was on the Bucks and early in his career. People like me, I didn't really get introduced to Ray Allen until the later part of his years on the Supersonics. And then obviously he went to Boston, and that's when we really found out about Ray Allen. But by that time, well, we're talking, he's a third option, no burst, still an elite player, but nowhere near the lead guard that we saw early in his earlier days. And obviously, if you're playing with Kevin Garnett, Rajon Rondo, somebody's got to take a back seat. And luckily, you had the perfect person to take a back seat and still be elite.
Marshall. Ray Allen. Three. Yes. Ray Allen guarantees one quarterback through the second half. Ray Allen on 3-point. Right. Sam Cassell, baseline drive out for Ray Allen. Open three. Yes.
Transition. The Bucks off the run. Good front.
Ray Allen with the tip away.
Oh, yeah, right there. Just that little getting to the whole part. Coming out the curl screens, reading real quick, not taking too long. Just going up easy.
Off balance.
A step back, tween, legs, cross, pull up.
With good hands back out.
Yeah, just too easy, bro. This looks like DP at Kansas. Look. Yeah, need not say more. Okay, if we look at Ray Allen's career stats, listed at 6'5", same height as DP, same build as DP. His career points, 18.9 points per game, 4.1 rebounds per game, 3.4 assists, 45% from the field, 40% from three. Hey, I could see DP doing something like that on the low end, really. But we can see here at his peak, he was averaging 26.4 points per game, 43 from the field, 37 from 3, and then dishing out 4 rebounds and 4 assists on the Seattle Supersonics, man. Oh, I can't wait for them to come back. But somebody let me know if I'm tripping with these comparisons, man. I don't really see Damian Lillard or Jamal Murray. And then obviously a lot of comparisons to SGA. I think just because of the size and the athleticism and the skill that SGA comparison comes into play. But SGA really isn't a perimeter scorer like that. He has the midi game, but I wouldn't necessarily call SGA a shooter. Darryn Peterson is a freaking sniper. And that's not something I even really knew about him until I seen him play at Kansas. I'm like, oh, I'm thinking he's like a slasher, get to the rim, unstoppable, getting to the cup type player. I think for the most part, the Wizards fan base, I would say at least 30% of this fan base, just based on what I've seen in the conversations that I've heard, upwards to 40 to 50% of us are like, yo, just trade down him. DP's really our guy, then trade down. I just don't know if we can bank on him really becoming a point guard if we do take Darryn Peterson #1. You would hope that Trey Johnson could then one day play with Darryn Peterson at the 2 spot and move DP to the 1, but then Trey Johnson would have to develop some better defensive skills, which that's just going to be his swing factor anyway. But let me know what you guys think about these player comparisons. What do you guys think DP's floor and ceiling is? And what do you think about the mock draft and all the scenarios with the #1 picks? And do you think there's a chance that DP could even fall down to #4 with the Chicago Bulls? I'll probably make similar videos like this for Caleb Wilson, Cameron Boozer, and Darius Acuff, and maybe Keaton Wagler. You guys stay tuned for more content. Thanks for rocking out with me, and peace.